Hey guys, this is Evan from Easy Origami, and today I'll be teaching you how to fold an origami Ikasa wheel designed by Yosei Meyasin. This model requires 20 square sheets of paper. Each unit is folded from one square, and I recommend using 3-inch squares to fold the units. Using 3-inch squares will result in a model about 4.5 inches wide. Diagrams for this model can be found in Yosei's new book called Origami Connected, which is now available on Amazon. I'll post a link to her book and my book review in the video description below. It's also worth mentioning that this model can be folded from 18 units instead of 20. The original design is folded from 20 units and lies mostly flat, but the 18 unit variation is really neat too because it's 3-dimensional. Either way, paper choice is really important for this model. I've found that Kami works fine, but Yosei recommends duo or patterned paper that's a bit thicker than Kami. This model does look really amazing when folded from patterned paper, so definitely experiment with that if you can. And I'm going to be using larger paper with color on one side and white on the other just to make it a bit easier to follow along. And once you've prepared your paper, then we want to start with our first square with the white side up. And we're going to start by folding in half diagonally. So take this bottom right corner and fold it up to the top left corner. Align the corners and the edges, then make your crease, and then unfold. And then we're going to turn the paper over. And we're going to fold in half once again, but we're not going to crease all the way. So we just want to take this bottom right corner and fold it up to the top left corner. Align the corners and the edges. And again, we're not going to crease all the way, so we just want to start our crease at this bottom left corner, and we want to extend upwards until we hit that existing crease. And then you can unfold. Then we're going to turn the paper over once again. And then we want to fold the paper in half along this full length diagonal crease. So we're just going to fold it in half like this. We're not making any new creases here. Then we want to rotate the colored triangle so that the long folded edge is now held on the bottom. And now we're going to squash fold the right side of the model. So I like to do that by using my left hand to stabilize the paper on the left side of this vertical crease. And then you want to use your right hand to separate the two layers of paper on the right side of the model. And while those layers are separated, you want to take the bottom right corner and align it with the top corner on the triangle. So you carefully want to bring those 2 points together. And in the process, you'll see you're actually squashing those layers down. And once both points are aligned on top, then you can flatten out the paper. And now I want you to notice this vertical crease in the center of the model. And what we want to do is align it with this folded edge over here on the left. So to do that, you want to lift up the top colored layer of paper, and I suggest stabilizing the left folded edge with your left hand. Then you basically want to grab that mountain fold from the top, and you want to swivel it over to the left. So you just want to swivel those layers over like this. Then you want to work your way up and over to the left until both of those folded edges are aligned. And before you flatten everything out, you also want to make sure that this mountain fold aligns with this white folded edge on top. And once everything is aligned, then you can flatten out the paper. We only need to make one more pre-crease to finish off the unit, but unfortunately that means unfolding the entire thing. So what we're going to do is lift up the unit, and you want to unfold it completely. So just flatten the paper out, and you want to orient your square like this so that all of the bisecting creases are now held on the right side. And now we're going to make a small angle bisector by aligning this right edge with this bottom diagonal crease. So we're going to do that by lifting up the right side of the paper, and we want to pull it up and over to the left. Then we want to start at this point here where the diagonal crease intersects with that bottom edge, and we want to work our way up and over to the left until the white raw edge is aligned with that diagonal crease. Just like this, and once that white edge is aligned with the diagonal crease, then we're not going to crease all the way. We actually just want to crease from that bottom point here, all the way up until we hit this crease, which bisects this white corner here. And once you've done that, then you can unfold. The next few steps should feel really familiar because we're just repeating what we did earlier on in this video. So we're going to start by folding the paper in half, and you can see that we have this existing mountain fold in the center of the model. So you just want to lift up the paper, and I like to mountain fold the bottom half of the paper behind. So just fold it behind like this, so that you're left with this colored triangle. Then we're going to squash fold the right side of the model by again separating the two layers on the right, and we want to take this bottom right corner and align it with the top corner of this triangle. So you just want to bring those two corners together, and again this should be way easier this time because we're just recollapsing along existing creases. Then we want to take this vertical mountain fold and align it with this left folded edge here. So just grab that mountain fold from the top and swivel it over to the left like this. And again, this should be super simple because we're just flattening out along existing creases. And now I want you to notice this crease here, which is the angle bisector that we created when we unfolded the model. And what we want to do is grab the top colored layer of paper and we want to fold it down along that crease. So we're just going to fold it down like this. And then you'll notice that there's two other layers of paper on the left. And we want to fold those down as well. So you just want to grab those two layers from behind and you want to fold them down along that same crease. So we're just going to fold everything down like this. And you'll see that this top colored layer does not lie flat. So to flatten it out, we're going to make a new crease connecting this top point with this left corner here. I like to start at the top and work my way down until those 2 points are connected. Try to be as accurate as possible. And once both points are connected, then you can make your crease. It's also worth pointing out that this colored edge does not align with the white folded edge underneath, so don't feel like you need to align those layers. As you can see, the bottom of the model does not lie flat, so we're simply going to flatten that out as well. So we're just going to flatten it out like this, and you should only be making a new crease on that top colored layer. It's also worth mentioning that this horizontal crease does not align with this white folded edge underneath either. But once you've flattened everything out, then this is one completed unit. Now you must fold 17 or 19 more, depending on which variation you're folding. And once you've folded all 18 or 20 units, you're going to need 2 to start the assembly. Then, look at one, and you'll notice that it has a little flap on the bottom, a big flap on top, and a little pocket underneath this colored layer of paper here. Then from here you want to take your second unit, and you want to insert the small flap on the second unit inside of the pocket on the first unit. So we're going to do that by lifting up both units, and we carefully want to bring them together like this. Again, making sure the second unit's flap goes inside the colored pocket on the first unit. Just like this. And you want to push them together until they don't want to go any further. You also want to make sure that both units align at the bottom of the model here, so you may need to slightly adjust them as well. And now we're going to connect both units together. So we just want to put them both down flat. And I want you to notice these 2 important points that I've marked here. This point on the right is the intersection of these 2 white folded edges here. And this point on the left is the intersection of this white edge on the first unit and this colored edge on the second unit. So keep both of those points in mind. And to connect the 2 units together, we're going to fold this colored flap on the second unit over to the left, just like this. And we want our new crease to start at this right reference point here. And we want this white folded edge to align with this reference point on the left. And if we try to do that, you see that we get stuck at a certain point because this flap from the first unit's in the way. So we're temporarily going to pull this colored flap from the first unit out of the way. Then again, we want our new crease to start at this right reference point here. And we want this white folded edge to align with this left reference point here. So you just want to fold that flap over until it aligns with both of those reference points. And the reference point on the left is a little bit easier because you'll notice this flap actually doesn't want to go any further when it's in the correct position. So once everything is aligned, then you can make your crease through all layers. You'll notice this new crease doesn't actually go to a corner. There's a slight overlap here, and that's totally fine. Once you've made that new crease, you can put that flap from the first unit back down on top. And if you lift up both units, you won't be able to pull them apart because they're now locked together. And now we're going to add a third unit the same way. And we're going to do that by inserting this small flap on the third unit inside this colored pocket on the second unit. And again, we carefully want to bring the second and third units together, just like we did before, again by inserting the third unit's flap inside of the colored pocket on the second unit. So you just want to push the second and third units together until they don't want to go any further. And you also want to make sure that all 3 units are aligned at this bottom point here. And once they're aligned, we're going to put all 3 units down flat, and we're going to connect the second and third units together. I want you to notice the 2 important reference points once again. This one on the right being the intersection of these 2 white folded edges, and the one on the left being the intersection of this white edge and this colored edge here. So once again, we want to lift up this colored flap on the third unit, and we want to fold it over to the left. We want our new crease to start at that right reference point, and we also want this white folded edge to align with this left reference point. So you just want to fold that flap over to the left until it aligns with both of those points. And similar to what we did last time, we temporarily want to move this white flap out of the way. So you temporarily want to lift up that top white layer from underneath. And now we can fold our flap over to the left, just like this. Again, making sure it aligns with both of those reference points. This reference point on the left is a little bit easier because you'll notice if you try to push that flap anymore, it doesn't want to go any further. So once that white edge is aligned with both of those reference points, then you can make your crease through all layers. You can put that other white flap back down on top, and you can flatten everything out. Once you've done that, you'll see that all 3 units are locked together. And from here, you want to add the remaining units the same way. 6-inch Kami is pretty big for this model, so I'm going to be demonstrating the rest of the assembly with slightly smaller paper. So just continue adding units the same way until you've reached the last one. So regardless of whether you're folding the 18 or the 20 unit version, you want to bring the first and last units together. When you do this on the 18 unit version, you can see the model is actually 3-dimensional. And when you do that on the 20 unit version, you can see the model is mostly flat. Then you simply fold down the colored flap on the first unit, tuck it behind the unit to the left, make sure that white folded edge is aligned with both of those reference points, and then you can make your crease through all layers. And once you've connected the first and last units, then you want to turn the model over. And you'll notice these little points that stick out from each unit. And we basically want to fold those points behind. You can start with any unit. I'll start with this blue unit here. And basically we want to wrap this triangular point around the unit behind it. So we're just going to fold this blue unit behind the red unit, just like this. And then we want to do that on all of the units by moving in a clockwise direction. So next I'm going to fold the red point behind, and so on. And once you've done that on all of the units, then you can turn the model back over, and your origami Ikasa wheel is complete. I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial on how to fold an origami Ikasa wheel designed by Yosei Meyasin. Be sure to upload photos of your completed Ikasa wheel to Instagram with the hashtag EasyOrigami to be featured here in my next video. Also, be sure to check out Yosei's Instagram for more of her impressive work. If you're interested in learning more about her new book, I'll post some links in the video description below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And of course, subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications bell for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.